Something is approaching, fast, silent, and relentless. You don't see it, but you feel it. It's that strange pressure in your chest, the feeling that something is about to turn, that an entire cycle wants to close forcefully. And here's the part nobody told you. When this energy arrives, it doesn't ask permission. It invades, knocks down, exposes, and reveals everything you've tried to hide from yourself. That's exactly what's happening now. There's a spiritual clock counting down on your life, and when it reaches 0, 2026 will demand a level of strength and clarity from you that many people won't have. But you have a rare privilege. You're hearing this warning before the turnaround. What I'm about to reveal to you in the next few minutes will either prepare you or break you, and the difference between the two lies in listening to the end. First of all, take a deep breath, because what you are about to hear is not just a script. It's a spiritual turning point designed to prepare your mind, your spirit, and your energy to receive the new cycle that is coming. Before we go in, let me ask you very kindly, subscribe now to Keys of Prosperity, because here you always receive profound, moving, and revealing messages made to transform your heart and open paths you never imagined. And tell me in the comments where you are listening from. I am Hannah, and I want to pray for your city, your home, and your next cycle. Today we are going to talk about something that is moving the whole world, an energy that is pressing, closing cycles, and demanding a courage from you that perhaps you never had. Have you noticed how 2025 wasn't an ordinary year? It wasn't just difficult. It was intense, profound, uncomfortable, almost as if the universe was pushing you inward, forcing you to confront truths you've avoided for years. It's no coincidence. It's numerology, it's spirituality, it's the Bible, it's energy, all converging on the same point, the closing of cycles. We are under the influence of the number 9, the vibration of the 11th month, and the depth of the moon in Scorpio. And no one goes through this unscathed. When God decides to close a cycle, He dismantles everything that was false, weak, or hidden. And the more resistance you offer, the more painful it becomes. The truth is simple, yet profound. Everything that doesn't belong to you will be taken from you. Not as punishment, but for protection. The energy of the number 9 is the energy of endings, of cutting, of cleansing, of the last chapter before a rebirth. And if you try to hold on to what has already died, you suffer. If you try to keep alive what God has already ended, you freeze. If you try to repeat the cycle that the universe has already closed, you return to pain, to chaos, to despair. And most return because they want to abandon the cycle, but not integrate it. And abandoning it is useless. What has not been integrated returns with more force, demanding a solution. That's why you felt so much pressure this year. That's why so many things broke. That's why you found yourself facing situations you could no longer ignore. God is not punishing you. He is preparing you, separating you, moving you. He is reorganizing your identity so that you enter 2026 with a different strength, a different awareness, a different spirit. But listen, the way you end 2025 will decide what you will experience in the next cycle. The ending is more important than the beginning, because those who don't close, repeat. Those who don't cleanse, carry. Those who don't surrender, get lost. What you need now is not to rush, nor to despair, nor to try to solve everything, but to allow the energy of closure to do its work. 2025 was a field of cleansing. 2026 will be a field of lightness. But lightness only comes to those who have closed chapters. And perhaps you are feeling this transition in your body, mind, and soul. Perhaps you are being challenged to let go of ties, patterns, people, and fears. Perhaps everything you have avoided for years has come to the surface all at once. It's not bad luck. It's alignment. It's mercy. It's rebirth in motion. And before we move on to part 2, let me extend a heartfelt invitation to you. Discover ReprogramMind. It was created precisely for this moment, for this phase of the cycle, to help you reprogram your mind, break patterns of scarcity, and enter the new with clarity, strength, and spiritual alignment. It consists of 7 days of profoundly transformative daily audios. The link is in the pinned comment. If you feel it's for you, follow your intuition. Now, get ready. Because in the next part, you'll understand why 2025 was so intense and how this alignment between the Bible, energy, and identity is the key to making 2026 lighter, more prosperous, and much more guided by God's hand. Stay with me. You're exactly where you should be. When you understand what is truly happening in the spiritual world, everything changes. Nothing seems chaotic anymore. Nothing seems unfair. Nothing seems random. Everything gains meaning. And now, I want you to imagine your life as a great transition between seasons. 2025 was the deepest winter, the moment when everything lost its color, when the ground froze, when you saw no movement at all. But winter is not punishment. It is preparing the soil for the next phase. And that is exactly what God wanted to show you. That before flourishing, He needed to freeze what could no longer grow. What fell because it had no strength for 2026. What was cut because it was no longer part of His purpose. And I know that perhaps you looked to the sky and asked, why me? But the real question is, why now? Because there is a cosmic, spiritual, and biblical transition happening simultaneously, and you are at the center of it. The vibration of the number 9 not only concludes, it cleanses, exposes, reveals everything that was hidden. The energy of the 11th month not only presses, it awakens buried gifts. And the moon in Scorpio not only disturbs, it pulls from the depths everything you tried to hide. It seemed like disorder, but it was diagnosis. It seemed like an attack, but it was revelation. And I'll say more. God didn't bury you in 2025. He planted you. Planting and burying seem the same, until time reveals who flourishes. And perhaps you're only feeling pain because you're being reborn. Change hurts, transition hurts, evolution hurts. But staying where you were hurt much more. And God knew. The spiritual world knew. Your spirit had been asking for renewal for a long time, but you didn't have the courage to let go. So heaven did for you what you couldn't do alone. This isn't loss, it's liberation. This isn't the end, it's rebirth. The question is, are you ready to allow the new to truly arrive? Because the new doesn't enter where the old occupies space. God doesn't pour new wine into old wineskins. The Bible already warned us. The problem is that many people ask for change, but they don't want to change. They want the miracle, but they don't want to close the door that prevents the miracle from entering. They want the blessing, but they continue to feed the pattern that produces pain. And here is the most serious and liberating truth at the same time. 2026 will not be about receiving, it will be about sustaining, about being compatible with what you say you want. And how you end 2025 is crucial. Because if you close it with awareness, you'll move through it lightly. If you close it with resistance, you'll enter 2026 carrying burdens that don't belong to you. And I need you to understand this deeply. There is no delay in the spiritual world. There is preparation. God's time is not chronological, it's pedagogical. He doesn't mark days, He marks maturity. When you learn, the door opens. When you resist, the door locks. When you surrender, the flow arrives. And 2026 is ready to receive those who are ready to walk without shackles. So, before we move on, take a deep breath and realize that everything is making sense, that nothing was by chance, that even the pain had a direction, that even the cuts had a purpose, that even God's silences were protection. He didn't abandon you. He repositioned you. He didn't ignore you. He strengthened you. He didn't lose you. He pulled you closer. And this revelation prepares the ground for what comes next. The part where your identity undergoes profound reconfiguration. The moment when you understand that the energy of closure didn't come to break you, but to reveal who you truly are. And in the next chapter, we'll delve into the most powerful truth of this cycle. The reason why you repeat patterns, attract situations, relive stories, and how to break free from this before entering 2026. Because if you don't break free, you repeat. But if you break free, you are reborn. And I will be with you, step by step, revealing what no one has ever explained to you. Now we're going to delve into something delicate, profound, and transformative. Because there's a hidden reason why you repeat cycles, relive pain, and attract situations that no longer make sense with who you are today. And that reason isn't in the external world, it's in your inner identity. The Bible calls it the inner man. Psychology calls it self-image. Metaphysics calls it dominant vibration. But the truth is the same. You can only live what you believe you are capable of sustaining. There's no point in asking for something your subconscious still fears. There's no point in clamoring for something your mind still rejects. And that's why 2025 has been so pressing, to force you to look at the identity that needs to be closed before a new one can be born. And here's something very serious. Even if God opens doors, you only enter if you believe you belong in that environment. Solomon said, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." This isn't poetry, it's spiritual law. If you believe you don't deserve it, you sabotage yourself. If you believe it's not enough, you reduce it. If you believe it's difficult, you freeze. Your outward behavior always reveals your inner truth. That's why intelligent people live trapped, while others, simpler people, advance swiftly. The issue isn't ability, it's inner permission. And 2025 came to break those false permissions within you. The old identity is dying, and that hurts. Because we're not just talking about habits, but about beliefs that were planted in childhood. Beliefs that say, "This isn't for you, you're not enough. You have to fight hard to achieve something small." And these lies become spiritual filters, emotional filters, energetic filters. Everything that reaches you needs to pass through these internal lenses. So, if the identity doesn't change, nothing changes. And that's why God is working on the foundations, not the roof. On the depths, not the surface. On the root, not the fruit. The renewal of a cycle demands a renewal of identity. The energy of the number 9 doesn't just cut through situations, it cuts through versions. And the version you've been up to this point is no longer suitable for the next level, because the next level demands a different posture, different courage, different faith. But understand, it's not about abandoning the old version. It's about integrating it. It's not about throwing away your history. It's about redeeming your history. Everything that hurt, everything that weighed you down, everything that broke you, none of that was wasted. They were stepping stones. They were warnings. They were tests. And now they become fuel for what God wants to do in 2026. And perhaps you are experiencing exactly that feeling, as if you were between versions. You are no longer who you were, but you don't yet know who you are becoming. This is spiritual transition. It's the moment when God takes you from one place, but doesn't yet reveal the next. It's the desert between Egypt and the Promised Land. It's the silence between the request and the answer. And it is in this space that He molds your identity. It is there that He strengthens you. It is there that He realigns you. And it is there that He asks, "Do you trust in me, or do you trust in what you have lost?" But there's a crucial point you need to understand, and this could completely change your entry into 2026. The new won't arrive while you're still emotionally attached to the old. And here I'm not just talking about people, but ideas, beliefs, versions, fears, silent emotional contracts. The energy of closure is demanding that you let go, not to lose, but to make space. Because there's a promise being pushed in your direction, but the door is locked by your old identity. And God won't allow you to enter the new carrying the weight that destroyed your previous years. And in the next chapter, I'm going to show you the biggest hidden enemy preventing you from entering this new cycle. A silent saboteur that most people never notice, but which drains energy, faith, creativity, and even prosperity. When you identify it, everything changes. Because this saboteur is the last obstacle between you and the lightest year of your life. Stay with me. The next step will open your eyes. Now we arrive at the most sensitive point of this cycle, the silent saboteur. It doesn't shout, it doesn't appear, it doesn't reveal itself immediately. It acts in the shadows of the mind, in the hidden corners of the soul, in the thoughts you nurture without realizing it. This saboteur has the power to delay destinies, block doors, prolong desserts, and repeat stories you swore you would never live again. And do you know its name? Emotional attachment to what is already over. Attachment to the expired cycle. Attachment to the pattern that no longer makes sense. Attachment to what God has already ended. And this attachment is so dangerous because it disguises itself as hope. It seems like faith, but it's fear. It seems like love, but it's imprisonment. It seems like loyalty, but it's self-destruction. Attachment isn't about the other person. It's about you. It's the difficulty of accepting that something has ended. It's the fear of walking down a new road without knowing what's to come. It's the feeling that if you let go, you'll lose everything. But the Bible is clear when it says in Philippians 3:13, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. Paul isn't talking about memory. He's talking about choice. Emotional choice. Spiritual choice. Vibrational choice. There is no progress without forgetting. There is no new beginning without renunciation. And there is no light, 2026, if you enter it carrying ghosts from 2025. Attachment creates noise within you. It prevents you from hearing God. It distorts signals. It attracts what hurts. It makes you remain in places that are already over. Attachment creates a kind of spiritual echo, where you continue responding to a situation that no longer exists. It's like trying to water a dead plant, like calling someone who has already left the room, like insisting on a door that God has mercifully locked. And the more you insist, the more it hurts. Because it's not life saying no. It's God saying, I have something better, but you need to let go of what doesn't fit into the new. And perhaps you haven't realized it, but attachment creates a kind of stagnant energy in your life. Everything gets stuck. Everything freezes. Nothing flows. Nothing grows. Because the spiritual world operates in movement, and attachment freezes that movement. It's as if you were holding a heavy object with both hands, while God tries to put something new in place, but finds no space. That's why Jesus said in John 15:2 that he prunes, not to punish, but to make fruitful. And pruning hurts. Pruning bleeds. Pruning is frightening. But without it, the fruit rots. And the next cycle arrives lukewarm, without strength, without life. But there is something you need to hear now, and perhaps it is exactly what your spirit has been yearning to understand. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is aligning. Letting go is making space. Letting go is allowing God to be God. And when you let go, you activate a spiritual law that changes absolutely everything. The law of divine substitution. Every time God removes, he prepares something greater. Every time he closes, he leads to what is best. Every time he ends, He protects you from suffering you do not know. Letting go is not a lack of faith. It is faith in what has not yet appeared. And I know you might be wondering, but how do I let go? And the answer is as profound as it is simple. You let go when you stop reliving what no longer exists, when you stop feeding on expired stories, when you decide not to make longing an altar, when you understand that God's love would never leave you trapped in something that destroys you. Letting go is a decision, not an emotion, because while you wait to feel, God waits for you to choose. And when you choose, the sky moves. And when the sky moves, 2026 finally opens. And now that you understand what's holding you back, in the next part, we're going to do something even more powerful. We're going to reconfigure your inner energy through a guided practice of prophetic affirmations to break patterns, release burdens, and make room for the new. It will be the moment when your mind, your faith, and your vibration align with heaven. What you will experience in Part 5 is not motivation, it's spiritual activation. Something will change within you. Get ready. Now I want you to do something very simple, yet very profound. Close your eyes and just breathe. Breathe as if you are entering a new energy, as if you are crossing a spiritual threshold, as if you are leaving the past outside. Feel the air going in and out, and realize that, as you breathe, something inside you begins to organize itself. You are not just listening to an audio. You are entering a spiritual frequency that aligns mind, faith, and purpose. I am Hannah, and now I want to guide you through a practice of prophetic declarations, because the Bible states that life and death are in the power of the tongue. Your mouth opens doors. Your mouth breaks cycles. Your mouth creates realities. Now, with calm breathing, repeat after me. In an audible voice, even if softly, because spoken words have authority. I open my mind to the abundance that comes from God. Again, more firmly. I now release all scarcity beliefs that do not belong to my new cycle. Breathe. Visualize these beliefs dissolving like smoke in the light. Repeat. I receive the renewal that heaven is releasing upon me. I become compatible with everything I ask for in prayer. Feel it entering your body. It's as if God is adjusting your vibration to His purpose. Now let's address deep-seated beliefs about money, because 2026 won't be about surviving. It will be about thriving effortlessly. Repeat after me. Money doesn't control me. I control money. Money is a tool that God places in my hands for purpose, peace, and progress. I don't rely on luck. I rely on direction. Everything that God puts in my hands, I multiply. Feel the power of these words. Feel the atmosphere changing. When you declare this, you are reprogramming neural pathways, opening space in the spirit, and realigning your life to the flow of divine abundance. Now visualize something. Before you is a golden door. It is closed, but illuminated. Behind it are opportunities, connections, provision, wisdom, clear vision. Place your hand on that door, even if symbolically, and repeat after me. I receive doors that no man can close. I walk under divine favor and guidance. Heaven supports me. The earth recognizes me. I thrive on balance, honor, and purpose. Feel that door opening. Feel the light passing through it. Feel a gentle breeze touching your soul. It's the new entering. It's 2026 calling you. Now let's break free from financial fear, because it was one of the biggest saboteurs of 2025. Repeat firmly. I am not guided by fear. I am guided by faith. I don't chase after blessings. I attract what God has already released. My provision does not come from people. It comes from the Creator. I am faithful in little things, and therefore, I am being prepared for much. Visualize chains falling away. doors opening, light entering. You are leaving the vibration of scarcity and entering the vibration of divine abundance. Now finally, place your hand on your chest and say, as if making a new spiritual pact, I am an heir to God's promises. Prosperity finds me because I am compatible with it. My mind has been renewed. My cycle is aligned. My year is sealed. I receive the abundance that is rightfully mine by purpose, not by effort. Feel this truth descending from your intellect into your spirit. You are not merely repeating phrases. You are rewriting your vibrational destiny. And if you wish to continue this journey daily, guided by spiritual audios that reconnect your mind to God's purpose, let me extend a loving invitation to you. Discover ReprogramMind. It's 7 days of profound prophetic audios, combining spiritual and scientific language to reprogram your prosperity mindset. The link is in the pinned comment. Now, take a deep breath, because in the next chapter we'll delve into the deepest revelation of this roadmap, the point where Bible, energy, and mind meet to form the definitive turning point that 2026 demands. Now that your mind has been gently reorganized and your spirit repositioned, we need to address a point that few people understand, but which absolutely changes everything in how you move toward the next cycle. There is a spiritual triad that acts simultaneously on your prosperity: Bible, mind, and energy. And when these three areas align, doors that have been locked for years open in days. Solomon called this wisdom. Paul called it the renewal of the mind. Jesus called it living faith. Neuroscience calls it neural plasticity. Metaphysics calls it vibrational frequency. But God simply calls it walking in the Spirit. When you unite purpose, thought, and vibration, you stop surviving and begin to manifest. And I want you to understand something profound. You don't prosper because you want to. You prosper because you become compatible. The Bible never promised prosperity to those who only pray. It promises prosperity to those who transform their minds. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, says Romans. Science confirms this when it shows that behavioral changes only happen when you alter your neural connections. And energy confirms this when it reveals that your vibration is measured by the dominant emotion you carry. That is, if your mind asks for abundance, but your emotion vibrates with fear, you create internal conflict. An internal conflict hinders external movement. That's why you felt 2025 so heavy. It was the year where God and the entire universe pushed you inward, forcing you to align your thoughts, emotions, and faith. Think about it. How many times did you ask for change, but continued vibrating at the same frequency? How many times did you ask for open doors, but maintained the same pattern of fear, scarcity, and doubt? How many times did you say, "I trust," with your mouth, but your body trembled inside? The spiritual world doesn't respond to your words. It responds to the energy behind them. Jesus knew this when he said, "If you believe, you will see." He didn't say, "if you say," but "if you believe," because emotion is the spiritual signature of faith. And now I want to show you a point that almost no one realizes. Prosperity is not a miracle. It's a consequence. Miracles open doors, but prosperity sustains. And who sustains? Those who become. Those who change from within. Those who renew their identity, mindset, emotions, and vibration. Biblical prosperity has nothing to do with money. It has to do with ability, with preparation, with inner stability, with emotional protection, with spiritual vision. Therefore, the year 2026 will not be decided by how much you work, but by how much you align yourself, by how much your mind, your faith, and your energy manage to move in the same direction. And this alignment begins with something Jesus repeated many times. The kingdom is within you. It's not outside. It's not in the government. It's not in the economy. It's not in the circumstances. it's inside you. Therefore, when you change from within, everything around you begins to respond to the new pattern. The Bible says that the creation groans for the manifestation of the sons of God. This means that everything around you is waiting for you to assume the identity that God gave you, not the one that suffering has molded you into. Heaven doesn't respond to your pain, it responds to your posture, to your faith, to your alignment, to your decision to enter the new without carrying the old. And when you understand this, something begins to break inside you. The habit of thinking that your life changes from the outside in. No, life changes from the inside out. First, God works on your spirit. Then He works on your mind. Then on your vibration. And finally, your reality reorganizes itself. Always in this order. Always from the inside out. And if you try to reverse it, you get stuck. That's why so many start cycles and can't sustain them. They start outside without changing inside. They start with effort instead of starting with faith. They start with anxiety instead of starting with alignment. But you are being prepared to do the opposite. Change inside so that 2026 responds outside. And that's precisely why, in the next part, we're going to touch on the most dangerous and most liberating point of spiritual prosperity. The invisible place that money occupies in the heart. Because it's no use attracting abundance if your soul is still trapped in fear, control, or idolatry. This point is the boundary between those who advance and those who hold back. Between those who reap and those who lose. Between those who break through and those who repeat. Get ready. Part 7 will expose what needs to fall and reveal what needs to be born. Now we arrive at the most critical point of the entire journey. The point that defines who truly prospers and who remains trapped, even while praying, declaring, and believing. This point is so silent, so subtle, so hidden within the soul, that most don't realize it until they lose something valuable, the invisible place that money occupies in the heart. The Bible is clear when it says, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." The problem isn't money. It's when it begins to guide your decisions, your fears, your relationships, your peace. It's when you realize you no longer choose by faith, but by fear. You no longer walk by purpose, but by desperation. You no longer trust in God, but in numbers. And this kind of spiritual dependence is more dangerous than any financial crisis you might face. And that is precisely why the Apostle Paul made a point of warning. The love of money is the root of all evil. Not money itself, but the place it takes when it becomes a throne. There are poor people enslaved, and rich people completely free. There are simple people who walk in peace, and people with full bank accounts living in torment. Because true slavery is not material, it is emotional, it is spiritual, it is vibrational. The rich young man in Matthew 19 obeyed commandments, was righteous, was admired. But when Jesus touched on the sensitive point, his soul cried out. He didn't have the money. The money had him. And whoever is governed by something other than God never prospers in balance. The love of money manifests itself silently. It reveals itself when you lose peace because you've lost control of your finances, when you accept emotional crumbs to avoid losing material security, when you put your dignity in your pocket instead of in your spirit, when you compromise principles to avoid losing your position, when you sacrifice health, faith, family, and purpose to maintain an image of stability. This kind of idolatry isn't revealed in words. It's revealed in habits, in choices, in reactions, in priorities. And God will never allow you to move forward while your heart is divided between Him and that which gives you a false sense of security. Listen carefully. God never asked you to abandon wealth. He asked you to put money in the right place. Money should be a tool, not a master. It should serve your purpose, not control it. It should multiply what you love, not replace what you've lost. Biblical prosperity doesn't imprison you. It liberates you. It doesn't unbalance you. It strengthens you. It doesn't swallow you. It expands you. When money is in the right place, it makes you generous, light, secure, and confident. But when it's in the wrong place, it consumes your peace, corrodes your faith, and transforms any blessing into a burden. Prosperity without spiritual alignment becomes a prison. Prosperity with alignment becomes destiny. And perhaps, as I speak, something within you is being touched. Perhaps you've realized that some of your financial anxiety doesn't stem from lack, it comes from attachment. Perhaps you've realized that some of your decisions didn't come from faith, they came from fear. Perhaps your soul is trapped not by bills, but by memories of scarcity that have never healed. But heaven is calling you now to a repositioning, a prophetic act, a spiritual choice, to put God back at the center and money back in his place. What you don't surrender enslaves you. What you surrender, God sanctifies. And that's why I want to ask you for something as a public act of faith. Write Amen in the comments. It's not just a word. It's a declaration. It's repositioning. It's breaking free from financial fear. It's a pact with purpose. It's surrendering the emotional throne. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, this is the perfect time. Because if you've made it this far, it means God is preparing you for a profound change. Click subscribe now, stay in this community, and let heaven continue to guide your every step. Here you don't walk alone. Here you learn to prosper with balance, purpose, and biblical wisdom. And before we move on to the last part, take a deep breath. Because what's coming is the final revelation, the perfect stitching together of everything you experienced in 2025, everything God is closing now, and everything 2026 promises if you enter it with a free heart. Part 8 is sealing. It's spiritual closure. It's gratitude that attracts the new. It's the last step before the turning point. And when we're finished, you won't be the same anymore. Before we conclude this meeting, I want you to place a hand on your chest and realize something. You are no longer the same person who pressed play on this video. There is a gentler clarity within you now. A lightness is entering, filling spaces that were once filled with fear, anxiety, and doubt. A new consciousness is being formed, and it doesn't come from me. It comes from the Spirit, from the subtle movement of God within your heart. The Bible calls this renewal of the mind. Science calls it neuroplasticity. Spirituality calls it vibrational change. I call it living revelation. The cycle is shifting within you even before it shifts outside. I want you to understand deeply. Prosperity doesn't begin in your pocket. It begins in your spirit. The spirit awakens, the mind organizes itself, the vibration aligns, and then reality responds. That's why some people seem to bloom out of nowhere. It's not out of nowhere. It's from within. The sky always shifts inside before it moves outward. And today, something within you has been activated, undone, reorganized. Perhaps you don't yet see it with your physical eyes, but it's already real in the spiritual world. And everything that is real in the spiritual sooner or later manifests in the natural. You are already carrying the energy of the next cycle. And if you felt this message spoke directly to your soul, know that this is no coincidence. People don't arrive here by chance. They arrive by calling. They arrive because God is preparing them, propelling them, healing them, repositioning them. And if you've stayed until this moment, it's because there's a purpose underway in your life. Something bigger than you imagine. Something God is shaping behind the scenes. Something that 2026 will reveal in a clear, gentle, and surprising way. You are being honed for a cycle of lightness, clarity, and expansion. And if you wish to continue this renewal daily, in a profound, guided, and spiritual way, I lovingly invite you to discover ReprogramMind. It's a 7-day series of audio recordings designed to reprogram your mindset, break patterns of scarcity, align your vibration with God's promises, and prepare your identity for all that heaven has already released upon you. If this resonates with you, don't ignore it. The link is in the pinned comment. This could be the step that solidifies the turnaround you've prayed for. And before you go, I want to thank you deeply. Thank you for allowing me to walk with you, to touch your soul, to bring light where there was weight, to bring clarity where there was confusion. You have no idea how your presence here transforms this spiritual space. Every comment, every subscription, every amen you declare activates something not only in your life, but in the lives of many other people who are beginning the same journey. You are part of this community. You are part of this movement. You are part of this story. And remember, true prosperity is not an event. It's a journey, a daily construction, a constant spiritual choice. You are not reaching the end of this roadmap. You are stepping onto the beginning of new ground, fertile ground, light ground, ground where God not only opens doors, He walks beside you, and every step you take, however small it may seem, will be supported by heaven. Renewal has begun. Change is in motion, and you are exactly where you should be. If this message touched your heart, write Amen as an act of faith. This seals in the spiritual world what God began in you today. Thank you for walking with me this far. You brought your energy, your story, your sensitivity, and that transforms everything. I honor you, I pray for you, and I celebrate your life, because the best is yet to come, and 2026 will be light for those who allow the new to arrive. See you in the next video. Infinite gratitude.